In order to access any Forms Online account, the customer must enter three pieces of information: serial number, user ID, and password. All three pieces are collectively referred to as the login. The program does allow multiple logins for each account, although the serial number will remain identical for each login created. All logins are assigned an access level of either administrator or user. The login assigned by Blue Moon at the time the account is created is automatically an administrator. An administrator login allows full access to the entire Forms Online program, including the Setup Default Lease option and the System Configuration tab. The default lease is the template used when each new record is created. Roughly 85% of the information entered for the lease and addendums will be identical for each record. The default lease offers time-saving convenience and allows for consistency by entering, storing, and then automatically populating these recurring values. Only administrator logins have access to this default feature. Administrator logins also have access to the System Configuration tab, which allows you to manage various settings for the account. The availability of each setting may vary depending on the Forms Online program used. Administrators can set preferences for lease calculations, such as prorated rent, default length of lease, enabling e-signatures, and more. Manage Users allows administrators to create additional logins for the account. Each login is assigned an access level of either administrator or user. Remember, administrators have unrestricted access to the entire program, while users are automatically restricted from accessing the Setup Default Lease option and System Configuration tab. Additional restrictions may be added for users as well. Administrators may also restrict the user's ability to change their password, delete records, manage e-signatures, or order additional clicks. If a user is restricted from managing e-signatures, the user will still be able to initiate the e-signature request, but the user would not be allowed to sign as the owner representative and therefore would not be allowed to execute the lease. Administrators may also lock users' access to individual fields within the lease under the Manage Lease Editor option. All lease editor fields available within the Forms Online program are listed on the left. As each new lease record is created, the fields within the lease editor are unlocked. This means the value contained within the field is editable. For example, if the return check fee is listed as $25 in the default lease, the new record will automatically populate $25 into the lease. If the field is unlocked, the amount may be changed to $35. But if the return check fee field is locked, then the user would not have the ability to change the value in any way. Also, if an integration process is used and the vendor is passing a value into the Forms Online program, locking the field would ensure the value passed from the vendor cannot be changed by the user. To lock any field, simply select the appropriate field from the list, then click Add, and the locked fields will then appear on the right. Administrators may also manage the printing options for the user. Forms may be selected to always print or be completely disabled from the print menu. In some instances, companies require additional addendums to be generated with the initial lease package, but they also want the flexibility to generate individual addendums separately. In order to accommodate both scenarios, only select the additional addendums to include with the lease package, but do not select the actual lease to always print. This instructs the program to only enforce the rule when the user selects the lease as one of the forms to print from their menu. This is a sample of the user's print menu. When the lease is selected to print, the forms assigned to always print will automatically activate. The user cannot remove any of the restricted forms from this print transaction. But if the lease is not selected to print, the printing restrictions are disabled, and the user may select individual forms as needed. And finally, the administrator has the ability to manage custom forms. Custom forms are tied to a company portfolio. Each property within the portfolio has access to all custom forms available for this company. Custom forms must then be activated for use by this account by selecting the appropriate form. Only after a custom form is selected will the form appear in the user's print menu. You may view a sample of each custom form by selecting the graphic beside each form name. Please keep in mind that if this license will be integrated with another vendor program, the vendor should be provided with the appropriate login information. If the vendor is provided with the administrator login, the Forms Online program will open with full access to all program features. If the vendor is provided with the user login, the Forms Online program will open with all appropriate restrictions in place.